Like, this is supposed to be fat material. But when
horror
I heard this,
hentai, nice.
when I heard the synopsis of it, I was like, "Who the fuck jerks off to this?"
Welcome to the Alpha Primos podcast, the show where we talk about anything and everything from reading scary stories to posting where you hid the bodies. Hey, I'm Juan Solo.
Hello, everybody. I am your morbidly obese friend, Paco.
And I am just morbid, JJ.
Just morbid and gothic today.
Just
Yes.
yeah.
Welcome back,
As I
everyone.
wear my
Welcome.
bright blue shirt.
Bright blue. I love Texas shirt.
Hell yeah. But, alright, and as for those unaware, it is the month of spooks, so we will be doing more spooky content throughout the month.
Yeah.
But before we jump into that, we need to acknowledge some people.
Yeah.
Because we got a new subscriber.
Woo. Hell yeah.
All right, so Baby Gangsta, thank you for joining us and subscribing.
Love that name.
For you are the true alpha for being a viewer.
Love that name. Baby Gangster. I was born and I was an OG at birth. That's what I imagine. Came out with a bandana.
And while we acknowledge people, we must acknowledge another alpha, Joe Jira.
Good old Joe Jira.
Left a comment on our scary manga by Junji Ito episode.
Can always count on him.
Right? Anyway, he said, just because it ended with you guys talking about Letter Kenny, and he put a whole quote saying, hey, Junji, buddy, I've seen scarier things come out of Riley's nose after a night in the shits. You drawing nightmares of just trying to outdo a high schooler's doodles in the margins of their math book. I've seen tougher spines in a wet paperback, you pigeon.
Fuck you, Shorzy. God, I love that show.
And Letterkenny's a good show. Shoresy's also good.
Yeah, no, I love Shorzy too. Now I want to go play hockey. I can't skate to save my life, but
Yeah,
you know,
skating is what is it?
It's overrated.
Yeah, roller skating and rollerblading were the two things that, like, no, I can't figure that shit out. I'm just gonna bust my ass.
I'm right there with you. Rollerblading, ice skating, skateboarding, anything with wheels that didn't have to do with the car, I can't
skateboarding. Skateboarding I could do. I just couldn't really like do any tricks. Like, I could ollie, but you know, the basic just like hop over the curb. That was it. Like, I couldn't do anything beyond that. And speaking of
all right, boys, what's on today's
of spoops and Jiras, I got another spoopy beer.
Ooh.
This week we are drinking Lagunitas, the beast of both worlds.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's a dog kaiju.
Love the wordplay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So it's East Coast flavor, West Coast clarity. So it's IPA.
Okay.
It's clear IPA. Lagunitas, I never noticed. I've had their beers before. I never noticed until I picked up this one. All of their beers have like a dog on them. I don't know if it's like the owner's dog or whatever.
I think so. It has something to do with
it. So in this one, since it's the beast, they made him a kaiju. And there he is, destroying the Golden Gate Bridge.
Nice.
And the Empire State
belly rubs.
But yeah.
He just wants belly rubs.
All right. All right, then. Now, as always, you guys are the true alphas for tuning in and listening. And again, leave us your comments, and we'll be sure to read them on the next episode. And for those of you that just sit down and enjoy the ride, we appreciate you guys too. So keep tuning in, keep watching.
Am I blurry, or is it just me?
A little blurry, but
a little blurry here.
Maybe
time to upgrade.
No.
Maybe try moving the microphone. Maybe it's focusing on the mic.
It's probably that.
Anyway, well, while Jake gets that set up, let me introduce the topic um to our viewers. So because we already talked about Junji Ito, we thought it was only best to now discuss other horror mangas that are not by Junji Ito. And so I want to give a small shout out to one of he's up there in my favorite YouTuber list, Super Eye Patch Wolf.
Yeah.
So I watched one of his videos to prepare for this episode because he did a YouTube video on one of the mangas I'm gonna bring up later in the episode.
Mhm.
And there's one thing that he said that caught my attention, and so I thought I'd share it here. And he said, horror is very personal,
Mhm.
and that's what can make it interesting. And he goes on to say that in other parts of the world, I guess even in like Japan, they there really wasn't like, I guess, like too much regulation as far as like what you could put in a comic book
Mhm.
compared to say like here in the United States, where there were just certain things they could and could not do.
Yeah, we had the
And
whole comics
so
code for like 30
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
or however long that lasted.
exactly. And so I think it's because of that's why there is more, mature storylines or even more just horror content in general when it comes to, looking at, books and stories from other countries, or in this case, since we're mainly focusing on Japan. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. Again, that was Super Eye Patch Wolf. If you're a fan of horror or anime, I highly recommend checking out his channel for some more video essays and such. So, yeah, I think we can jump into the topic of horror mangas that are not by Junji Ito. So, would any of you guys like to go first?
I'll go first because this is a hard subject for me because I am not good at horror at all. But I did find a few that I took a look at and read.
Mhm.
So I haven't slept for a couple days. Appreciate that. I know because we had talked about it earlier, and JJ said,
You're
this.
welcome.
Oh my god, you too. So the first one is called PTSD Radio.
Oh yeah, that's the one
Ooh,
that I wanted to talk
okay.
about.
Yeah, that one. I
Okay.
was like, I had to go look up a list because I was like, man, I don't even know where to
Mhm.
start. So I just said, fuck it, I'm gonna scour the internet for a list and I'll see whatever jumps out at me. Hopefully not literally. And the first one that really did kind of catch my eye was PTSD Radio.
Mhm.
Fuck, that thing is creepy. Scary. It's by I'm gonna probably butcher the fucking name. It's Masaki Nakayama.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe this is a collection.
Yeah.
Is what it's a collection.
It's a series.
It's like
a series. There you go. It's a series.
It's not in like chronological order. It's not linear.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
if you pick up a volume, part of the fun thing about this one in particular, and the title, is that at the beginning of every chapter or every issue, there's a radio frequency that appears.
Mhm.
So you take a note of that radio frequency, and if you want to read the story in order, you match up the radio frequencies. And that's those are the stories that tie into each other, and that's the order that they go in or whatever.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, oh god, I didn't really pay attention to that. I just read a couple, and
Mhm.
scary stuff, creepy stuff.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
the way he draws faces, because
Yeah.
there's gruesome stuff in it, or there's supernatural stuff in it, but it's just the way he draws a person, like a normal person, just having a look of terror and utter fear.
Yeah.
Really, really messes with me, because it has an uncanny valley feature to it. He can draw in a way that it almost looks like like if it was like fake CG. You know how like
Mhm.
sometimes you see a CG character and it looks weird and
Mhm.
creepy to you. He kind of does that to me in 2D. Like I don't think he uses any form of CG in his art. I could be wrong, but from what I've seen, it all looks like hand drawn and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's just something about the way he draws those faces that really like fucks with me. Like
Yeah.
they're creepy.
And you know what? To add to that, you know what else? I think this is true across all like horror manga. Is I feel like the black and white makes it even creepier.
Yeah.
Like that they're all in black and white, you know, because of course they're mostly all in black and white. I just feel like it makes it creepier. So if you were to do it in color, it doesn't have the same effect as it does because it's in black and white. The cover itself was already kind of throwing me off on the covers because those images are creepy as shit. And there's one with like a he looks like a little baby, but he's got like his smile on his forehead and his eyes under. It's super fucking wrong.
Yeah.
But that was one of the creepier images from it. But yeah, that was my first one. Was PTSD Radio.
Yeah, and
That's
that
my
was
first
the one
one
that
that
I
I got.
wanted to cover. I think that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to mention about it.
Okay.
The only thing that I would really add is that like so when I first heard about it, I thought it would involve aliens, and I was wrong. It does not involve aliens. It's like a fucking elder god, like almost Lovecraftian.
God of Hair, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God of Hair. That's I was like,
but yeah, if you like Junji, it's probably pretty close to like the way
Junji stuff.
yeah, some of his series are collected. I mean, the gimmick with this one is that it's out of order. So
Yeah.
but other than that, it's pretty close. Oh, and I think I could be mixing this up with another one, but I think this is the one that has the reputation of the author having to stop working on it because it was driving him crazy.
It was
supposedly.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Shit. That's nuts.
Like, you know, it was probably just a marketing gimmick. I mean, I'm sure there was some truth to where he was like, God, like, dog, I have to put my head in this like weird space, this negative dark place,
like
in order
Heath
to
Ledger
write
and the Joker.
Yeah, like that. I'm sure there's like a kernel of truth to it. But there's also like he also kind of like drew that as a sub story in the manga, so it got a lot of traction and it got a lot of attention because it's like this thing is so fucked up that he had to stop writing it.
Yeah.
I feel but like I feel like you're right in a sense because I mean, at least in my opinion, I think you have to probably go to a certain place as a person to like come up with this stuff. Maybe like if you're right, if it is due to because a lot of writers they pull from real life. So what if some of this stuff is just like some real life trauma that they visualize in this way? You might have to go to that place for a little while to come up with this. So I can see how you'd be like, bro, I got to take a break. Like, I know it's off topic, but it's off topic, but it's similar. Is that I sent it to y'all where the what's his name, Colin Farrell said he had to watch Toy Story. Because in order to play the Penguin, he had to go to some dark places in his mind to play that character. He's like, so when I was done, I went and watched Toy Story to like kind of bring me back to not reality, but like, okay, cool. We're not dark anymore, baby. We're not dark anymore. It's like he went to his Bullseye days.
Watch a bunch of
Daredevil
videos.
He's like, so Colin, how did you get so dark? He's like, you remember Daredevil? Yeah, that's where I went back to.
Well, also
What, he had to bring me out of it?
Slightly off topic, but kind of, you know, related in terms of like having to go into that dark space. Everyone that works on the new Mortal Kombat games are like, fuck this game. Like, we're done. Like,
I don't play it, so I don't know.
Because they have to create the fatalities. So the way to get a realistic looking X-ray is to like actually see a fucking X-ray. Like you have to see it. You have to look that shit up. So they've they've gone to some fucking dark web sites.
They're probably just rewatching Faces of Death all the time.
Yeah, it's stuff like that, like actual real trauma center stuff that they have to like look up for research. And it's like, yeah, no, we're like, once we finish one of those games, we're like, okay, we're done. Like, I'm not.
I feel like that's one of those, like, those guys should just get a pass and just, like, fake it. Fuck it.
Yeah, you're probably, you know what, dude, it's okay, man. He's like, so I'm doing this ass fatality, right? So I'm looking at all these trauma pictures from the emergency room.
Right.
I think they were probably happy about the animalities coming back because it's like,
the animalities and
I just have to watch The Revenant. Yeah,
like, why are there so many friendships all of a sudden? It's like, look, man, look, the first season we gave you a lot of really fucked up shit. Like, let me have this. Let me have this. Just want hugs every now and then. All right, Juan, what do you got?
Okay. So, I think it's fitting that I start with something that's available for free that people can look up and read.
Free 99.
Yeah. So
I think I know where this is going.
Yeah,
This
is not from Japan. It's a Korean comic.
Oh God.
So the one I'm bringing up is called Tiger in the Hills by Pogo. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is the same person that did another Korean horror comic that went viral. I'm probably butchering the title, but it's like the Bong Chon-dong Ghost comic.
Yeah.
And that one went viral because it moves.
Oh, is it? Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you.
So there's this other one. Now, this one, I do want to preface. You can find it online. It is available for free. You can go to the website. It's recommended you read it on the website because it has music that plays that goes with the story. Now, let me be clear. Unlike the Bong Chon one, this one doesn't have a jump scare.
Okay.
But it is playing music. However, if you don't want to play it with the music, you can find another version on Imager where it's just the screenshots, the photos. So read it to your comfort. You're not gonna impress me because if you watch it, like, just however you feel comfortable, you want to read it, you can find it. And it is a very quick read. It's like a 2-minute read. And this one, I'll agree. It's kind of like that other one, the Bong Chon one, is that it's more famous because of the way it was done. With that said, though, this one, Tiger in the Hills, it is still a creepy story. Even if you get past the the theatrics of the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
But in short, it's basically about some guy leaving a funeral, and he sees a thing in the woods, and he's later told that, oh, it's like this monster that they call the tiger.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I will say about it. But yeah, for anyone curious about it, I'm blanking on the website. I think it's like something Naver, Navar, Naver.
Mm-hmm.
But again, just look up Tiger in the Hills comic. You'll find it.
Tiger in the Hills. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And if you want the one with the music, go to that Comic Naver website. Otherwise, just find a version on like Imager or something. You'll be all right. But all right, Paco, back to you.
Okay, so the next one I have, it's called Bibliomania, is the name of it.
Okay.
It's
Bibliomania.
kind of like a take on Alice in Wonderland in a way.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this one too.
So kind of the basis of it is this girl ironically named Alice. She wakes up in this mysterious room, has a number on it, and then she's told that she can't leave the room under any circumstances. No matter what, if she does leave, then her body begins to rot.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, and then you start finding out things about her, so she doesn't seem to be who she is. That's the gist of the story. I believe it is written by, I'm going to have to look it up, Obaru and Machiro. I think they're two different authors, I think.
Yeah, one probably does the art and the other,
one's the artist, the other's the writer.
Even for as creepy as it was, it had that fantasy element to it, and a little bit, maybe it had like the horror, the psychological, had a little bit of fantasy to it in a way. So it kind of piqued my interest. It was actually not bad at all. It wasn't what I was expecting, but pretty good. And like I said, scary, but not as scary as I thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm skimming through some of the artwork right now, and like, holy shit, yeah, this is.
Yeah, it's got like that otherworldly kind of like, like, what's the word? Well, yeah, I guess otherworldly type look to it.
Yeah, almost like
because if I say what I want to say, I'm going to give away my next stuff, and I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Gotcha. My next pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She the look that she has in some of the panels, it reminds me of like a super creepy like Totoro character. What's his name? Shit, I can't believe I keep forgetting his name. He's famous.
What, like the guy that did Totoro?
Yeah, fuck. Miyazaki. Yeah, she looks just like a creepy ass Miyazaki girl. Like he took inspiration for his human character from Miyazaki, and then he just upped the creepy level by 5.
Yeah.
I think she kind of reminds me of Kiki
from Kiki's Delivery Service.
Kiki's Delivery Service, yeah, kind of, yeah. That's who she reminds me of. Just the extra creepy version of Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service.
Oh, dang.
But those otherworldly images is what kept me up at night.
Dang. And from what I can tell, it has no official release in English.
No, yeah.
I had to read a fan translation.
Okay.
Because there are fan translations out there, so I just kind of like, it looks cool. I'll give these fan translations a shot.
Okay, then just to throw that out there to the audience in case they want to read it. So it looks like
about that. I had to read fan translations.
All right, but cool. Solid choice. Jay.
All right, so this one, it's kind of bending the rules a little bit because it's really more of a tragedy. It's also technically supposed to be in a different genre.
Aren't these all tragedies?
Well, this one is supposed to be erotic, but it does not appeal to my tastes at all. Like, this is supposed to be fat material. But when I heard the synopsis of it, I was like, who the fuck jerks off to this?
Well,
I'm pretty sure some people who might have guessed it already, who partake in the erotic manga might have guessed it already, but it's Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis.
Okay.
So the story of Metamorphosis is about this girl. She's like a nerdy, average girl. I don't think she's supposed to be like top of the class or anything, but she's smart. She's not a bimbo or anything like that. She's just a normal average girl. She doesn't have much of a social life, so she starts to hang out with like, some people. And through the course of her like trying to, expand her social life a little bit, she gets drugged and raped.
Oh shit.
Okay.
But since this is, hentai,
Yeah.
instead of, like dealing with the trauma of it, she leans into it and she just completely changes, hence the title, Metamorphosis. She becomes a slave to the addiction and a slave to sex, and like her life just gets worse and worse and worse each issue, to where it's like, yeah, who in the fuck jacks off to this? This isn't hot. This is like, it's a very tragic and very sad story, but to someone like me who's kind of fascinated in a dark way by cults and stuff, that like losing that loss of self, it really like picks away at my fears, because I thankfully I've never gotten addicted to anything as I chug my 7th beer.
I chug my third 12-pack for the day. Not addicted.
And after this I'm gonna take a shower and have my shower beer and my post-shower beer. No, but I've never been addicted to the degree where it completely consumes my life and I can't get my shit together. Like, that's the true disease of addiction, is that it controls you. And that really speaks to like my fear, where like I being sort of feeling like a passenger in your own body instead of being in control. It is like a real primal fear of mine. And this manga, despite the fact that it's supposed to be, erotic and hot and you're supposed to jack off to it, really like scared the shit out of me when I heard that premise. And then out of curiosity, I like looked up one of the first issues and I was like, yeah, it's exactly what they said it was. Because I hear about it on YouTube videos and I'm like, there's no fucking way someone made this. Like, come on. No.
Yeah, because you talk about the cult thing, and that to me in itself is scary when you're talking about the loss of self. Because I've seen some of the documentaries, and on Netflix, and even some of the stuff, the essays that people do on YouTube, and I think to myself, like, how does that happen?
Yeah, no.
How do you fall for that? And then when you finally see the interviews and stuff, and it's just like, look, I was in this place, somebody told me something I wanted to hear, and I just latched onto it. And sometimes I think to myself, like, oh my god, like, I feel like I could fall victim to something like that as well.
No, like, you totally could.
Straight up. That's like, holy shit.
Not to like scare anyone or to insult anyone, but shout out to the podcast Behind the Bastards. I really like that podcast. It's really cool. If you're history nerds and want to learn about like the worst people the world has ever had to offer, there's a 6-part episode on Vince McMahon, by the way.
Yeah, that's what you guys told me about it, and I started watching it. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man.
No, yeah, but like, they go in depth into like the history of like, some truly evil or wicked people. But so because of that, there's a lot of con men that are covered in the show. And one like piece of wisdom that really stuck out to me is that the host mentioned it, and he's like, I believe that there is a grift that everyone is susceptible to, right? Like, okay, maybe you listen to the Herbalife spiel or whatever, and you don't fall for it. Cool. But that doesn't mean that you're completely immune to getting scammed. There's going to be one out there that works on you. You just haven't found it yet. You just haven't tripped on it.
Yeah.
But, just be careful. There is going to be one that works. Someone is going to be able to tap into whatever insecurity you have, and you yourself might not even realize it.
Mm-hmm. Damn, that hits. That is holy shit.
I watch a lot of like
I mean, look at all the fucking ads for make your wang bigger. Like you see them and you're like, no, but they keep popping up, so they have money from someone. Like someone's falling for it,
and it's me. FYI, guys, it don't work. It's been 4 years. It's been 4 years.
Like I watch a lot of those. I think they call them like scam baiters. They're those people that like mess with like those scam call centers from like India and stuff. And I remember there was two of them that they did like a Q&A, and I remember the question was like, who gets scammed? And they're like, anyone can get scammed. Everybody can get scammed. That's just the simple fact. They're like, anyone can get scammed, and there's a reason why like it's so profitable for them, is that it's become really clever the way they do it, that it's getting to the point that
it's hard to tell
when it's a scam and when it's not.
So
and I think that's part of why it works, because there's almost like this like shame aspect that you fell for it, but it's like you shouldn't feel ashamed for falling for it. Those guys are bastards for doing it. And it's also, that's why they get away with it, because they're becoming really good at making it not so obvious. So So I do think
they're masters of their craft. They know
really
how to tap into whatever insecurity you may have, or whatever thing. They know how to read you. They know what's going to work on you, or what has the best chance of working on you. And they know how to make it look real. They know how to make, like, if it's an online scam, they know how to make a website look like the official website.
It's that shit is scary as fuck.
And I can definitely see how this metamorphosis is definitely, it's more of a depressing read than anything.
It totally is. That's why I'm like, it's bending the rules, but at the same time, the premise alone is really haunting and scary to me.
Yeah, especially like, I mean, something as serious as, rape, you can argue that that's the subtext of the story, that it changes a person because it's something so traumatic. And this one just cranks up the trauma and then takes it in a much deeper direction.
So, there's a reason it's supposed to be a sad read. So you're supposed to use your tears to lube yourself, and that's why it's like, we're gonna make you super sad, but we're also gonna throw some tits in there. So as you're crying, it's just not a dry. It's not a dry session. You know what I mean?
All right. Okay, I guess we can move on to mine. So
to your pick,
I will.
It's not as
preface erotic. That the next two, so this one and then the one I'm gonna say later, it's also arguably, they're not horror, they're more like psychological, but I still think they fall under horror, and I think when I explain it, you guys will agree.
Psychological horror, still horror.
Yeah, so what I'm mentioning is Flowers of Evil by Shuzo Oshimi. So
this sounds familiar. Go on.
So
it'll probably click in my head later as you go.
All right. So this one is a story of, I guess you could say, like a love triangle. but it just goes wrong. And so it's not your typical horror in the sense of like that there's like a like a monster or like a curse or something. Instead, this one is that this kid, he has a crush on a girl. And then I guess you could say he had a moment of weakness and he succumbs to his own perversions. And he ends up taking his crush's gym bag. And then he takes the clothes out of it and then he has it in his room. But then another girl, a classmate, goes up to him and is like, "Hey, I know what you did, and I saw what you did.
Oh.
And now you need to do what I tell you." And it's almost like this like emotional blackmail.
Yeah.
Because she's like, if you don't do it, I'm gonna tell her that you did it. And so she just has him do these things that could get him in trouble or could get him caught. And it's sort of just kind of like almost to like demean him in a way.
Yeah.
But the reason I mentioned it's kind of like a love triangle is because it's basically like she likes the guy too. So it's almost like it's you think that she's just jealous, right? And so that's like the weirdness of this story. I might be misremembering some things because it's been a while since I read this one. And I don't even think I even finished reading it now that I'm bringing it up. But that's very much just an overall like synopsis of it. And so I would argue this is definitely psychological horror more than anything else. Now, when I was looking this one up, I saw that there's an anime adaptation. I cannot comment on it because I didn't even know there was an anime on it. So everything I say, I am saying strictly on
the
manga. And I would even say like, nah, screw the anime, just read it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is
the art style in the anime, at least from the screenshots I'm seeing, is very different than the manga.
Oh, then no. Just stick to the manga then. The artwork in this one it's the subtleties in the like the characters' emotions, like in their faces and stuff, that sells a lot of the emotion in this.
They got some weird looking faces.
Yeah.
In the anime.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not really a fan of that particular style. If you guys just Google The Flowers of Evil for all the listeners.
Oh God! I just googled the. Oh no! Guys, stick to the manga.
Apparently, there's a live action.
Oh, there's a live action too.
Fuck.
Huh. Well, this story would lend itself very well to live action.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, no, guys, stick to
the manga.
Stick to the manga.
Save your eyes. Stick to the manga. Don't just make up the shit in your head. Make up the music.
But yeah, so a different take on horror, more psychological, but yeah, that's my pick.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Back to you, Paco. Or sorry, you were going to say something, Jay?
No, I was just gonna say that, like, yeah. Once you mentioned the love triangle part, it clicked in my head. Like, oh yeah, I never read it, so I didn't know all the details, but I totally did like watch a video on it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one's going to be my last one, just because I couldn't get through some of the horror. But this one, I didn't get to read them, but I chose it because for those people that maybe might not be super into manga or looking for something to get into, maybe that they're not used to the art style or something, it's a manga artist named, I'm going to butcher this, Go Tanabe. He's known for making manga adaptations of H.P. Lovecraft stories.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's known for, making these adaptations of these H.P. Lovecraft stories. And man, like, imagery alone is creepy, and for what it is, looks really good. Like, if that's what you're looking at, it looks real. At least, like I said, it's the adaptations. It looks really good. Manga adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft shit. H.P. Lovecraft's already creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's really fitting, mainly because, if I'm not mistaken, H.P. Lovecraft's like, he doesn't really like outright like tell you what the monster like
Yeah, what the
looks
monster
like.
is. Yeah,
Uh-huh. So it's open to
interpretation.
uh-huh. So yeah, like I think arguably his most famous, the most famous is Cthulhu,
Yeah.
but mm-hmm.
No, so that was my pick is Go Tanabe for his adaptations of the H.P. Lovecraft stories.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you guys
Yeah.
are like H.P. Lovecraft. This is right up your alley.
Dang,
All
I'm
right.
looking
Yeah,
at
and I'm a
some of
big
the
fan of
photos and
just all kinds of artwork, and
mm-hmm.
even though this is creepy, it's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't really think you have, if you read H.P. Lovecraft or if you know H.P. Lovecraft, you already know the stories.
Yeah.
I think for the people out there, this is something that I think would be nice to add to your collection,
Mm.
art style wise.
Right. Yeah. Now you have a visual to go with the.
Yeah. And oh, uh, so he did a different manga called Mr. Nobody.
Mr. Nobody.
Mm-hmm. Like, cause I'm looking up like his work,
Mm.
and yeah, there's a
I see it.
manga called Mr. Nobody. So I'm guessing he worked on that too. But but yeah, as far as the HP stuff, I'm showing like I think there's like 5 different books.
Yeah. Well,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think
And
so.
yeah, one of them is the Call of Cthulhu.
And I think Mountains of Madness is another one.
Yes. All right, JJ, you want to show us your next pick?
Yeah. So I think you and me have the same one that we want to talk about, Juan. The one that you referenced to at the start. So I'm going to, pick another one just so that we have something else to talk about.
Okay.
And this one might also be kind of a cheat, but um, the first arc and the third arc of this manga series is really creepy and thrilling, and it's The Promised Neverland.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
will.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Okay.
with that said, the anime shits the bed completely, but that first season of the Promised Neverland anime is very, very good, and it sets up the world fantastically. It's I would almost say that you can watch season 1 of the Promised Neverland and then jump into the manga after that. I'm not sure what chapter it ends off on, but the premise is that you're following all these kids in an orphanage, and they eventually, one or two of the kids get adopted. So these kids are all very close to each other. They treat each other like siblings. And one little girl gets adopted, but she forgets her stuffed animal. So two of the other kids go to give her her stuffed animal before she gets picked up. And they discover that they're not actually being adopted. They're being harvested by monsters. And so then the rest of that first arc is, how the fuck do we escape? Is there even anywhere to escape to? So that's the first arc. And yeah, that first arc is fantastic. It is a cat and mouse game, a psychological thriller. Like, it is very, very well written, excellently paced. And just, all in all, really, really good. Spoilers if you don't want to know more about this, but I'm gonna have to spoil a little bit. The next arc that I would recommend from it is, so spoilers, they do eventually escape the orphanage.
Ooh, thank God.
And they make it to the real world, but the real world is nothing but monsters and like fucking ruins of mankind and shit.
Damn.
So that's the second arc. It's them like trying to find a place to live. But the third arc
is even worse.
The third arc is genuinely terrifying. Like, if you, at this point, you're already attached to the main character, and you already know like what she's capable of and like what she's not willing to sacrifice. So in the third arc, it's called Goldie Pond. They find this place called Goldie Pond, and they're essentially being hunted by a predator. Like,
God damn it!
Please
give these kids a break, man.
It is a demon like bounty hunter that is relentless. It is the Terminator. It is the Predator. It's not going to stop until you surrender. But the main character refuses to give up and is plucky and is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and the hunter knows this. So
oh no. Oh no.
He knows what he needs to do to lure her out into the open.
Becomes a father figure.
Like, those two arcs are genuinely terrifying, and they're probably the best arcs in the entire series. It pains me to say that, both in the anime and the manga, the ending isn't great. It doesn't really live up to the expectations, it lays out at the start. Especially the anime. I don't know what the fuck happened with the anime, but like,
I've seen the reviews and I hear the reviews of like, man, what the fuck?
They dropped the ball so fucking hard with the anime. So the first season follows that first arc that I explained, like, to a T. It's like almost one for one perfect. And then for whatever reason, season 2, I guess because the manga was already wrapping up and people were already kind of like, this isn't really like worth it, like blah blah. So they just rushed through, what would have been normally maybe another 2 seasons worth of story. They were like, nah, screw it. We're gonna cram this all into the one, and we're gonna just like speed run this bitch.
Shit. Okay.
Oh, I thought they gave it the Halo treatment, where they're just like, we're doing whatever the fuck we want.
I mean, to a degree, they did, because just the nature of the beast. You kind of have to change stuff if you're gonna rush through it like as fast as they did. And yeah, it's just, it's not good. Like, watch season 1 and then drop it after that. If you still want more, read the manga, but I'm warning you, while the ending of the manga is better, you might still be let down by it.
Fair point.
All right. Solid choice. Okay, I'm gonna go to my next one. So again, it's more psychological. So, but I still do consider it horror, and we'll see if Jay is correct that we both have the same one.
If the audience agrees.
All right. But my next pick is Chi no Wadashi, or Blood on the Tracks.
Yeah, that's the one.
By Shuzu Oshimi. Now, I need to preface, I swear to God, I didn't know it was by the same guy when I read it. It was when I was looking up the mangas for this episode that, like, hey, wait a minute. Oh, God damn it. And, like, I'm pissed because it should have clicked.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the horror is the same. It's this psychological, and the horror really is in like the faces, the reactions of people.
I think I know this one.
We might have talked about it before because
we might have. Yeah, we might have. So I never finished reading this one. Actually, I don't even know how far I got into it. But
I think I made it to the trial.
Is the one about the mom?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So just to give a tiny little synopsis, because I don't want to give it away for anybody who does want to read it. It's about an overprotective mother. Now, the story is told through the POV of the child, the son. And so the mother is very overprotective to the point that, like, other family members even start, like, pretty much making fun of her for how protective she is of him and whatnot. So then when they go hiking for, like, a family trip, the cousin pretends to push the son. And the mom, being both protective, grabs the kid. And then the cousin's like, wow, really? Like, you can't even, like, play a joke or whatever?
I feel like that's not a joke, though.
And then...
Yeah, no, the cousin is an asshole.
Yeah, like, bro, you just trying to push me off a fucking cliff. Like,
yep. And so really then... Now imagine what the child feels when he then sees his mother go up to the cousin and then push him off the cliff.
Shit.
No, yeah, she follows through, bro. Like,
talk about payback right there. See how it feels.
And so the horror in this one, I think the best way I could describe it is, let's say you're like at a social gathering, be it a party or something, and there's someone there at that party, and you think they're mad at you, but you don't know why they're mad at you, or if they even are mad at you. And so you're just going back in your head going, did I do something? Did I? And you're just stuck in this, like, what's going on? Like, that's Blood on the Tracks. It's that you don't know what they're thinking, what the other person knows. And very much the fact that all of this is told through the POV of, like, the kid also, like, puts more pressure on the horror, because a lot of the panels are drawn through the first person. So you are very much seeing this through the eyes of, a young boy. Okay. There are parts where, it's literally like a happy memory, you know, walking hand in hand with mom, looking up at her and stuff. And then you turn to the next panel and it's just something like, you know, creepy, be it,
Creepy image.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the tainting of something that you thought was pure
Mm-hmm.
and beautiful. Like it's completely unrelated, but there there's an episode of The Sopranos where Tony's like going back through like a repressed memory that he had, and he basically saw his father like chop off some guy's fingers at the back of a butcher shop, and that was like the first time he ever saw his father like do mob work, do something shady and despicable. And he repressed that part, and then the next part of that memory that we're shown is that him and his dad go home like nothing happened, and the dad has like 10 pounds of salami or whatever the fuck. Like he's got a bunch of meat that he extorted out of this butcher, and he gives it to Tony's mom, and Tony's mom's all happy and excited and like grateful for the meat, and like she knows where that meat came from. So, and that was the first thing she knows, like what the dad had to do to get that meat.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony realized this as a child, and that was the first time he ever has a panic attack. And that was like the significance of it in the with the psychologist. It's like that's your first panic attack, and it's because you realize that like your mom's not innocent in this either. Like she knew exactly what your father had to do to get that meat. Like
she knew.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think that that description like hits the nail right on the head with this one. It's that like those tainted those tainted memories, and then the fact that like all of this is coming from like your own mother, someone that you trust, you bond with, and then the whole that she's so overprotective. It's like that you want to let go, but you can't let go, and likewise she quite literally won't let you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, uh, this is probably out of all the ones I've mentioned, this is probably the one I recommend the most.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So, uh, yeah, I don't, I don't really know what else to say about it, because then I'm gonna get into like some spoiler territory, and I really don't want to spoil this one. This one is just
let people
this
read
description. If this description alone caught your attention, like just seriously go check it out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There is one thing I will mention for those that are struggling to find it. You can try to look for it under the title Trail of Blood. Sometimes it gets translated as that, and that's because I think that's
I think
more
that's
direct
like
translation.
Yeah, I think that's like a literal translation.
Yeah.
But then the official translation is blood on the tracks. If I'm not mistaken, when I was at Barnes and Nobles, I saw it there under that title.
Yeah. The reason for that is because there's I don't know if it's a John Denver, but there's a song that's titled Blood on the Tracks. Mm-hmm. And the author was trying to make a reference to that with his title.
Mm-hmm.
But in Japanese, the song is translated as Trail of Blood, like a direct translate. So that's why sometimes it might appear under that title. If you're looking for it online, it's the same story.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you're not sure, by the time you get to chapter 5, you'll find out.
Yeah.
Okay. Jay, do you
The mom
have
takes her
another
top
one?
off. You went to the wrong site. That's
You're at the wrong one.
That's
I don't really have another horror one, just like some interesting stuff.
Hmm?
This one I found out about like just today as I was trying to find, more manga that were scary or horror. And it's not really that, but I thought it was interesting and thought there might be, like some scary moments in it.
Hmm?
And it's Onward Towards Our Noble Deaths. It's written
Okay.
by Shigeru Mizuki. He was recruited into or drafted into the Imperial Japanese armies in World War II.
Okay.
And so this is kind of like his memoirs in manga form. He's writing about
Oh,
like his
okay.
experience in the war, and famously, because if you look up any pictures of him as an old man and stuff, you'll notice one arm doesn't really move or anything. That's because it was blown off. He's missing an
Oh,
arm, and he became a mangaka afterwards. Like he
dang.
started drawing and writing manga after the war and after he lost his arm. So I think that's just fucking baller.
Yeah.
Onward Towards Our Noble Deaths is probably his most famous story, at least here, in the West. But he's
Mhm.
also written stories about yokai and Japanese demons and supernatural stuff. So he's someone to check out. I really like the way he draws Onward Towards Our Noble Death, because all the main characters in it are drawn like kind of cartoony. Like he makes them look like caricatures,
Mhm.
but all the
Mhm.
background people are drawn in a super realistic like style. But they're not detailed, right? Like they're not, you kind of only see their shadows and sometimes you'll see their face, but it's not like crazy detailed. Like it's not super photorealistic, but it's drawn in a
Mhm.
way more realistic style than the main characters.
Yeah.
And like that contrast is pretty interesting, and it also kind of endears you more to the main characters, the way they're drawn and stuff. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
he's someone cool to check out. It's not necessarily horror, but war is hell, war is scary, and this guy fucking lost an arm. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen what you mean. I'm looking up photos of it, and yeah, he draws like all the background characters with a lot of shadows, a
Yeah.
lot of contrast, and so yeah, that makes him look like more realistic. And then compared to the main cast, that yeah, they're more like caricatures. So
Yeah.
okay, and so this one's just like a one shot, right? It's not
Yeah,
like a series.
he's no. He's done other stuff that's like, World War II based. I think he
Mm-hmm.
did something on Hitler, like not praising
Mm-hmm.
Hitler by any stretch of the imagination, but like, just his thoughts on Hitler and like his I
Mm-hmm.
guess some of the Hitler story. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just him drawing from his life, right? Like he had to fight
Mm-hmm.
in World War II. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I forget the title of his. He has a series that's like Kitaro. Kitaro is the one that's dealing with like yokai and stuff. It's a little
Mm-hmm.
boy.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Kitaro is probably his most famous character in Japan. That's what, like, if I look up a picture of him, he's usually standing next to an image of Kitaro or something.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
yeah, no, I think he's just a cool author to check out. Maybe not necessarily true horror, but horror adjacent.
Mhm. I'll allow it.
I think I have
All
one.
right.
I think I have one more.
Okay. Let's see if it's the same one that I was going to say.
Oh, I guarantee it's not anything close to what you were going to say. I guarantee you. You read this more than I do. You're more into it than I am. It's like a psychological, but it's also like police procedural kind of in a way because it has to do about detectives. But it's called Manhole. Is the name of it. Manhole.
Okay.
Basically, it's these two detectives. They find a dead guy, a naked dead guy, and then as the story progresses, coming to find out that it's caused by this disease, and the disease starts running rampant, and it's starting to become to the levels of epidemic level. And as it's a series, I think it's only got 3 or 4 volumes, but they, as the story progresses, come to find out it's done by some. There's a man with a plan, and it's got some really creepy imagery of it from like what the disease is doing to people. But they start finding out that his plan has to do with manhole covers, and that's why it's called Manhole. Like it has to do with the sewers, and I guess how he's spreading the disease and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you, it's got some really creepy imagery to it. So I guess because it's like there is somebody that they're chasing, it's I guess you could relate it to in a way, kind of like almost like a serial killer type, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, that like the detectives are chasing somebody, and you know they're not able to catch them, and all these other people are dying. There's a lot of body horror. That's the word. It's body horror. That's the word.
Horror.
Body horror. There's some body horror in it. And like I said, some of the covers and the imagery in it's super creepy. And to me, it's got that scary element to it, especially nowadays with infectious diseases kind of stuff. Through like bacteria and stuff that's hard to find a cure for.
Yeah. It looks super interesting.
Yeah.
And like I like the police procedural stuff as well, you know.
Same.
Hunting down the killer, hunting down who caused this pandemic and stuff like that in the story. And, you know, the gritty detective. This is what I like. So it might not it's not necessarily horror. It's got body horror.
No, I think this one.
I think it would count.
You could count as horror.
I think it counts as horror in a way. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think
the audience might not agree, but I'm like, hey, like I don't read this stuff. I'm not into horror. So everything fucking scares me. Everything scares me. So.
No, this is definitely horror. I'm seeing some of the photos, the panels, and
I don't know why I couldn't think of the word body horror earlier either. Because it's kind of like, you know, with the H.P. Lovecraft stuff. It's like there's body horror, there's looks like existential crisis type shit, you know?
Yeah.
It's the artwork, it's the visuals that really get you along with the stories.
Definitely.
And what do you got, Juan?
All right. I think we can wrap things up with this last one. I feel people would be really upset if we did this episode without mentioning this guy, Kazuo Umezu. So, besides Junji Ito, this guy is also famous for horror. He's done The Cat-Eyed Boy, Drifting Classroom, and so I mainly want to focus on the Drifting Classroom. So
I think that's probably his most famous one.
Yeah. Cat-Eyed Boy, just to mention it really quick, is like I think it's like an anthology. Like every chapter is like a different story, but the thing that connects all of them is that cat monster thing. Like shows up in every story, but it follows different things. So the Drifting Classroom. It's Lord of the Flies. But manga.
Yeah.
Lord of the Flies, but Japanese.
It's Lord of the Flies, but manga, and also The Island is the Future.
Yes. So when I read that completely like caught me off guard. That was I was not expecting that, and okay, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. It's just more of like, oh shit, I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, in short, it's an elementary school that gets that just disappears. It's like an earthquake thing, kind of just separates it.
Isn't there an anime about this?
I don't.
I think there's an anime, or there might be an anime that is similar.
You think if it's the anime? I'm thinking of it's not a school. It's like an apartment complex that's in the ocean.
Apartment Complex C or whatever, the one that's on Max.
No, that's a different one. That one's also horror, but this one that I'm saying I don't even think is horror. I think it's like just I don't know, these kids out in the ocean trying to
try to survive.
But yeah, the apartment complex one, that one, I saw a handful of episodes. I don't know how far. I didn't get too far into it, but I kind of just tapped out. I don't know. Maybe someone in the comments could let me know. Should I finish it? Is it worth finishing? But it was too slow of a build up for me, I guess.
Yeah.
And then and I was watching it like episodically because I don't think the whole thing had come out. They were doing like a weekly release.
Yeah.
And I never finished it. But anyway, back to Drifting Classroom. So it's the school gets separated, and it's an elementary school, so you are dealing with children.
Ooh.
The only adults in the situation are, the principal, the teachers, and staff. And it does not take long for shit to go to hell. People immediately lose their minds. They start hoarding food. And just all out bullshit. And then it eventually...
Cats and dogs living together. Total pandemonium.
Chickens and ducks coming together.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it eventually leads up to, as Jay mentioned, because it is in the future, it ends up being that in the future there's these fucking monster animals things.
Yeah.
And so then they start dealing with that as well. So I'm a little conflicted on this one in the sense that, yes, it is horror and it is a very famous book on top of it. That said, though, I should be clear that this is a pretty old series.
Yeah.
This shit came out, I think, in the late 70s.
Shit. That's
old. Yeah, it's pretty old. So it may not have aged too well.
Aged like white people age like milk.
And I don't mean that in the sense of in terms of there's content in it that didn't age well. I mean it in more of the pacing.
Okay.
It can be, at least it was for me personally when I was trying to read it. I don't know. I don't want to completely shit on it, right? Especially because I didn't even finish it, right? It's not fair. But I just want to give that heads up in case there's some people that do want to look it up and read it, and just judge for yourself. See what you guys think. But yeah, as far as horror mangas go, Kazu Mezu. That's another name you need to know besides Junji Ito. But yeah. So, but yeah, this one is definitely more like survival horror, trying to find food, work together, try not to lose your mind.
Yeah.
That type of situation. So yeah.
So I think You can cut this out, Juan, if you want. But that reminds me. What about? Because I remember you wanting to talk about it. What about Battle Royale? Would that be considered a survival horror as well? I remember you saying you wanted to talk about it, but like I said, cut it out if you want.
I did, and no, we can talk about it. No,
that's one that I have read. I have read, and I saw the movie and everything. So I read it and I saw the movie because I saw the movie first. I think I saw it with Issa. I think I saw it with Issa, with our cousin Issa. And then later I read the manga and stuff, and I like the manga better. But the movie was still pretty good, and I saw it. It was after Kill Bill because of Gogo. Because she's in it.
She's in the movie.
She's in the movie. But yeah, so would that be considered like a horror genre? Because it's survival horror, right?
So it is survival horror in the sense that and for those of you unaware, Battle Royale is about a class of middle schoolers thrown on an island together, and they have to fight for survival. Last person standing wins. And this is the manga that created the video game term Battle Royale. So this was the original
Hunger
Battle
Games.
Royale. So it's technically, if you want to fall into, it's more of a thriller.
Okay.
Yes, I would say it is definitely survival horror, and it's also that the depictions, like the violence, the gore, very much push this into where it could be in the horror category, because these deaths are brutal. And they depict it like no hold barred.
In a similar vein, I guess, in the honorable mention camp, because this I wouldn't classify this as horror. Maybe it would be like you said, survival horror in the same sort of vein as Battle Royale. But Gantz from the early 2000s.
Yeah.
For those that haven't heard of it, I don't really recommend Gantz too highly because it did not age well at all. And it's very, very edgelordy. You have to be in the right kind of mindset to read Gantz and enjoy Gantz. But the premise of it is that these two high schoolers that used to be friends, one of them's very noble, one of them's very nice, very kind, the other one's very selfish. We follow the very selfish guy. They run into each other at the train station, and someone falls onto the tracks. So the very noble one jumps in and, tries to rescue the person, but they're struggling. And so they call out to help. They call out for help from the very selfish one. And the very selfish dude, being kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Pretentious or, self-absorbed kind of guy. He's like, well, I can't say no now. Like, I can't just pretend I don't know you now. You called me out by name. So he begrudgingly jumps in. They save the person, but unfortunately, they both die. However, they wake up in this room with a weird-looking sphere. I should mention at this point, Gantz was one of the first manga series to incorporate CGI art into its pages. So the sphere itself is, created using CGI, and so it looks visually different than anything else, like in the room or anything, different than all the characters and stuff. So even from a visual perspective, you're like, what the fuck is up with this sphere?
Yeah.
And the sphere then just tells the characters, hey, you guys died. So here's the deal. We're going to send you guys out in these, super awesome science suits. You're gonna hunt down these aliens. And if you kill them, you get some points. If you get 100 points, grant you a wish. You can come back to life and never have to come back and do this ever again. They kind of don't have a choice. It's like you do this or you just die. Like those are your options. Like there's nothing.
I liked how like the first half was sounding like okay, it's similar to Battle Royale, and then that last part with the aliens who goes, all right, it's nothing like Battle Royale.
No, it's like Battle Royale in the sense that like every night, all these people who quote unquote died and want a second chance at life have to go out and they have to fight these. They have to fight for their lives. It's Battle Royale in that sense. The different part, and the part that becomes kind of creepy and scary, is that these aliens are fucking nuts, man. Like, like they show you the first alien, and it's like, is this tiny little thing? I can kill it. It's no problem. And then that fucker, you know, like slays 5 of them, no problem. Gets a fucking instant kill streak. So, there's horror in that sense, but the fact of the matter is that Gantz wasn't trying to be a horror manga. It was trying to be an action sort of shonen style manga, and it's very, very edgelordy. It's very, very angsty. So that's why I like hesitate to recommend it. But for the time, it was pretty good. Some of the movies and some of the anime adaptations have been okay. The story just keeps going. I honestly think Gantz should have probably ended after a certain point, and it just kept going for 100 more issues. I think it might still be ongoing for all I know.
You're like, dude, you got your 100 points. Just fucking stop.
He got way more than 100. I'll tell you that.
He's like, I get 3 wishes, bitch.
But the redeeming factors of it is that you do genuinely see character growth from this guy who starts off as a very selfish douchebag. He starts to become more and more noble, more and more of an actual, you know, like hero.
So there's actual growth character-wise.
Yeah. I mean, it's also still, you know, a manga from the early 2000s, so like there is growth, but like he's still kind of a dick.
I guess just to circle it back to Battle Royale for a bit, for anyone that is curious about reading Battle Royale, maybe like just some heads up, trigger warnings, if you will. Like it goes into some fucked up places, not just kids killing each other. It goes into these kids' backstories, and well, it goes into some territory dealing with abuse and whatnot. So, you know, just don't say I didn't warn you. But yeah, I guess we can wrap things up here. Those are for honorable mentions. But yeah, I guess. Is there anything else you guys want to add, or?
Yeah, the last thing I'll add is that if any of my recommendations, especially Bibliomania, you want to check that one out, there is, like Jaquan said, there is no English translation. I had to look for and find a bunch of fan translations. That's how I ended up reading it, because your boy can't read Japanese. But yeah, so if that one piques your interest, you want to read that one, you're going to have to look for the fan translations to read that one. I still think they were pretty good. I still thought they were pretty good. Well, at least because I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So, I mean, unless it turns out to be some ghost story situation where they're just making shit up. That's another scary manga or anime. You should watch that one. Yeah, Ghost Stories.
Yes, the English dub.
The English dub of Ghost Stories will blow your fucking mind. But yeah, so for Bibliomania, if you're gonna have to find the fan translations to read that one, because there is no official English dub or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I had to look for the
Mm-hmm.
fan stuff. But I still think it's worth it. I said I still think it's worth it.
All right, fair enough. All right, and as always, just let us know in the comments what y'all thought about our picks. Likewise, recommend any other horror mangas that we should know about, or the other alphas should know about.
So, anything else we should know about, or tell us if we're wrong.
Yeah.
That what we gave y'all was not horror manga, and that this was a complete waste.
Is Gantz
okay.
like the biggest piece of art that I'm just like fucking
not understanding?
Let me know.
Yeah, and let us know if y'all want us to talk about Battle Royale some more. We would love to do that as well.
Yeah.
Any excuse to talk about Battle Royale, we will do it.
Yeah, that's a great movie too.
Any excuse to talk about Takeshi Kitano.
Yes.
Beat Takeshi.
Exactly. All right. And on that note, we'll wrap things up here. And as always, we'll catch you all on the next one.
Adios.
Peace.
Peace.